again. Hey, Jen.
I'm very well, thank you.
Great to have you here. Thanks so much for accepting my invitation.
Well, thank you for your patience, and sorry it took so long, but yeah, it was great to be able to finally be here.
Jen, so you've been a customer experience lead at HelloFresh and you're based in Australia. So tell me a little bit more maybe about your role, about your team, about your objectives as well.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, so HelloFresh Australia and New Zealand. I get to represent the voice of the customer, which is really cool. I get to work with stakeholders across the business to improve our customer experience, and then help teams better understand our product and our customer through deep dives, uh, looking at customer behavior and trends. So my key objective or my challenge is looking at a VOC strategy, so a voice of customer strategy. Um, I want to be known as the customer champion, and I want people to come to me to help them with more evidence-based decisions, validate hypothesis, and really help. Really want to help turn insights into action. That's my number one goal.
That's amazing. Can you tell me a little bit more how your team is structured? Sometimes it's a team of one, right? Someone who is doing everything. Sometimes it's a broader team with different functions and departments.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, CX can kind of fit in anywhere from marketing, customer care, and product. So I'm within customer care, but also part of the broader product team. So it's really great within our team because we have the customer care side where what customers are calling us for, what are they using self-service and chat for, so that we can help look at those behaviors and see how we can make more seamless experiences. So we've got CX improvement in our team as well. So looking at that more product side. So yeah, I like it within the product.
I want to talk to you a little bit about the importance of customer feedback, I guess. I've been speaking to a lot of customers, and I know that for people like you, customer feedback is really a gold mine of insights and something that CX people usually want to use as guidance, I guess, to make really important strategic and tactical decisions. So tell me a little bit, what are the areas of your responsibility or areas within the company that you're looking to improve with that knowledge and intelligence from customer feedback?
I guess our number one CX metric is NPS, of course. So within that NPS, we know what our drivers of NPS are. We know what needs to be improved, really good at being able to identify what is impacting NPS, what needs to be maintained. And with that customer feedback, we can really drill into all of those areas to try and understand like what is the root cause or what is contributing to it. So although NPS is the main CX metric that we use, I like to look at all the touch points of feedback from our customers. So that's from when you sign up to when you're using the product, when you're cooking the meals, when you're calling customer support, and even when you're canceling. I like to look at all of those. You can really start to see what do our customers value, what are our strengths, where are our pain points, most importantly. And what I do is I compare this month on month and look for any emerging trends and share that with the business.
Got it. So NPS is your North Star metric, but then you're looking at the entire customer journey and then probably passing that feedback to relevant teams responsible for a specific touch points.
Yeah, absolutely. So every single feedback touch point, not just the NPS survey, but everything else that we do.
And speaking of that, because you've been obviously one of the most engaged and active users of Chattermill, I have to say. So I'm really curious to hear about how you're using the platform on an everyday basis. What is the first thing that you do within Chattermill when you log into the platform?
Yes, I use Chattermill every day, every single day. Reading customer comments is really one of my favorite things to do. And what do we do with it? But my first thing that I do in the morning is I look at detractor comments. What are customers saying within that 1 to 6 score? And there I look for any opportunities to close the loop on that feedback. So who we should contact, who needs support based on their particular comments. And look for trends and anything that might be kind of emerging that might be an issue that we might need to jump on. So again, drivers of NPS, pain points, reading the comments, all these things kind of lead me to a particular trend usually. And then I get to do a deep dive, which is stuff that I really love to do the most. I always have a list in front of me, usually like on a little post-it like this of lookouts. So anything that's based on a recent campaign or a change, a trend that somebody might have noticed, or something that somebody mentioned to me while I'm going through the process of reading comments and deep diving. I look for these things just in case they're popping up. I think colleagues often ask me questions, either just tap on the shoulder or a quick Slack saying, what do customers say about a particular product? Or, hey, Jen, can you tell us about X? Or, hey, Jen, have you noticed feedback on Y? And these particular requests or deep dives are kind of like sugar to me. I usually drop everything I'm doing and follow that new sparkly thing because I'm always excited to see what customers are saying about something.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned detractors looking into NPS, analyzing that feedback. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Because I know that for some CX managers, I think there is a trend right now, even on LinkedIn, that, hey, NPS score is not everything. It's actually not enough just to lead your decisions by NPS scores. I think there's a trend right now that CX managers really need to understand what's behind it, what's driving that NPS score up or
Yeah.
down. Um, have you been doing that as well in Chattermill? Have you been using specifically impact analysis? This is one of the type of reports that we've got that actually allows you to understand that impact. Is it useful? Is it something that you're using?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, with a big company or got lots of moving parts, I should say, and lots of teams, the impact analysis really gets you to see which theme is contributing to the NPS. So is it a delivery or ordering, customer care? So yeah, absolutely. The impact to NPS is I compare that month on month, quarter on quarter, and see what's changing. And actually, I really like the negativity and positivity index that you can do in Chattermill as well. Um, I love that it looks at all of negative feedback compared to all feedback. Whereas with the net sentiment, I find that if an area is a negative one, it's always going to be negative. Whereas with positive and negative sentiment, you can really see that change month on month if the amount of negative feedback is reducing. So yeah, I love that. I love NPS. It has a place. You use it internally to measure yourself against yourself. I don't think about benchmarking against other organizations. But yeah, it's really the verbatims or the customer comments is where you get what you need out of NPS.
Got it. Thanks for sharing that. And speaking of impact analysis, this is just one of the type of reports that you can build. But as a power user, I imagine that you probably slice and dice data in multiple different ways, depending on what you're trying to find out. Can you walk me through maybe an example of a report or a dashboard that you're just looking into on a regular basis?
Yeah, I do. I do have a fair few dashboards and reports that I've got set up. I've got one at the moment that's set up to track performance of a particular initiative that we've got going. People, instead of people just asking me every couple of days from all different areas about how it's going, I got to set up the dashboard looking at sentiment, NPS, the particular keywords and how they're performing. And then this, publish it and allows for self-service. So then anyone can go in and have a look at the dashboard anytime they like without having to constantly ask me going, how are we going with this particular initiative? So that's been really helpful as well. We can compare Australia with New Zealand or with each of the brands. There's so much you can filter by. Loyalty groups, that's a really fun one to look at. So if you're looking at a particular pain point, does it differ by loyalty group? So is it different by new customers or customers who have been with us for quite a while? Actually, the one I really like is in one particular account with competitors looking at customer review sites. And we can have a look at competitors. So you can compare with what are the customer review sites for our competitors. What are customers saying on there? What is their average score and how does that compare to ours? That's a fun one to do too.
This one is very interesting, actually, because basically it means that you can also analyze publicly available comments about your
Yeah,
competitors and just
that's a
see,
good point to
right?
say. Yes, it's publicly available. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can see, what are your customers saying, right? What are the things that you can maybe double down as a company, as a brand to actually win those over? So that's really interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important to stay across the competitive landscape. What are people doing well? Um, yeah, it's good to have that competitive edge.
Absolutely. So you're looking into different things, probably focusing a lot on what are the pain points that we need to tackle, right? What are the things that we need to
Yeah.
solve? What are those negative things or just customer concerns? Tell me a little bit, how do you prioritize? Because, there's always something to work on. How do you prioritize what you and your team should tackle next?
Within my team, it's usually what we can influence or change locally. As I said, with our team, is it about the support that you're getting over the phone, through the chatbot, self-service? So is there anything of the pain points that we're seeing that we can then go and quickly and easily make all those changes? Um, I look across all feedback channels. So, for when they're signing up, when they're leaving a review on Trustpilot, for example, I use that negativity index to pull out those pain points. And then I can see if something is trending across all of those pain points. Is the delivery or ordering system causing pain? Because then you see it everywhere, right? So if it's something big enough, you'll see it across all those pain points. So I guess I prioritize what we can influence locally and what is trending across everywhere.
How do you share those insights with other teams? Maybe first of all, what are the teams that you are working with in terms of like making changes, improvements, and how does this process work, I guess?
Yeah, so everybody, everybody within the business, from the delivery side to the customer care, people who design the product, deliver the product, get the produce. I mean, everybody. And I guess this is my key focus area at the moment is how do I share these insights better? But currently we have a quarterly CX review where key stakeholders come together and I get to share our customer experience metrics, how we're performing, and start to share those pain points that I was just talking about. And I've been working now on an insights hub. So anything that I publish, I now put onto this hub. So everyone can access everything that's available. And look, it might not be relevant to everyone, but it's important that, you know, everyone can have empathy for the customer and get to understand who our customers are. So that's kind of what I'm working on, how to share them a little bit better than what I am doing.
That's a great tip, by the way, about the Insights Hub. I think everyone is thinking about it because there's no such thing as over communication. Since it's so important for us to act on those insights, you really need to make sure that those teams are involved and engaged and just informed in the first place. So what I'm hearing from our community is that everyone is trying to find really good ways of like communicating those insights, making sure that teams are acting upon them. Um, you
Yeah.
mentioned that you've got that quarterly meeting with
Mhm.
different. Can you share a little bit? What's their reaction, I guess, when you're sharing with them what is working, what is not working?
Well, I guess everybody's different. There are people who will ask questions, how many people is this, or how widespread is this, and is this really serious? Or what have we done about it? What are we doing about it? Because there's key stakeholders. It's not just people asking me; they're asking each other. What are we doing in this particular space? So if I identify a pain point, someone might be in that room that's going to be able to talk about what we're already doing there. Um, Customer centricity is part of our DNA, and everyone takes the feedback really seriously, which is great. It makes my life a lot easier. So everyone is really engaged and asking questions and how do I get more information or can you tell me more about this sort of thing? They're good sessions to have.
Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about using AI in general for analyzing customer feedback. Today, you can analyze that feedback using AI tools, different AI models, but a couple years ago, it wasn't really possible. And a lot of people that I've been speaking to, they say, there was a lot of manual analysis involved, a lot of spreadsheets, manual um, sifting through the feedback and things like that. So I'm just wondering, what would you say is the the biggest advantage of using AI for analyzing feedback? What would you say to someone who is still maybe a little bit reluctant in terms of improving this process by using AI?
Um, I mean, it saves so much time. When you talked about before about downloading the feedback into an Excel file and then you would categorize it yourself. Being able to theme a comment is, for me, the game changer. And yeah, something that I love so much about Chattermill that it does that. So every comment has a theme or multiple themes, depending on what customers are talking about. And then the sentiment. So, which you can really filter by, is this a positive or a negative sentiment? What are people saying about this particular thing? So, I think I mentioned, there's a lot of moving parts and lots of different teams in the organization. So be able to, um, link, easily pull out all of the delivery related comments and whether they're negative or positive, and then go and read them. Um, so we can really accurately and really efficiently narrow in on that customer sentiment and area. So, it makes that digging for gold, as we say, way more efficient and enjoyable too, I have to say.
What would you say is your best strategy for getting teams like product, like operations, support teams, revenue to actually act on that customer feedback?
This is something that is really important to do, is to make it relevant um, and easy. Simplify things as much as you can and make it meaningful to the teams that you're talking to. So we report on insights regularly, and if there's something trending, we'll share that. But if we notice that there's something happening, so if we have noticed something, happening over the last few months, we bring a team together of key stakeholders, and I'll talk them through what we're seeing, what is the impact to the customer, and what is the impact to the business. So outside of the quarterly CX reviews, if something happens in between those, we gather a team. So everyone really takes the feedback seriously. So if you call a meeting and say, hey guys, we're noticing something, they'll be like, yep, cool, we're coming. Tell us what's going on. What can we do better? Makes my job really satisfying when people value what you've got to say.
Definitely. So the next question I guess I have, I want to definitely learn about your biggest inspirations and trends that you're looking into, but also what are your thoughts on the CX in general these days? So, what is one thing I guess you wish more CX managers knew about using customer feedback effectively?
This was hard to come up with one. Can I have two? um, I think the first one I've kind of talked about already, but it's know your audience, so make it relevant. So who are you sharing the feedback with? Make sure um, know who you're giving your feedback to, sorry. So you can make it meaningful to them and show them impact customer and business, both really important. Not everybody understands NPS. Some people like numbers, some people like words. So adapting your feedback and insights based on who you're giving it to, I think really helps. And my second one, because I couldn't decide which one was more important, was closing the loop with customers. They take the time to give us feedback. So if there's a way that you can contact a customer to thank them, ask them for more information to help solve that pain point for them, then you should definitely be doing it. And if customers see that you're actually reading their feedback, then they're more likely to continue to give you feedback and hopefully give a higher score next time.
Exactly. Exactly. Love that. Thinking about Chattermill as a platform for analyzing customer feedback, it can be used by different teams. As you mentioned, even operations, product teams are using Chattermill. So what would be your piece of advice to someone who is just starting with Chattermill? What would you recommend? Where to start?
Um, so I started with just going in and having a play. It's really quite intuitive initially. So go in and just play around. I think you can figure out the basics. But once you've done that, go and do all of the training. I've done all of the training. Because all of a sudden I'm now creating dashboards and workflows and these really cool reports based on keywords. And actually the course that I did most recently around retention, I've now been able to create a model for drivers of churn, which I didn't think about doing before I did that. So go in, have a play, but then do all the training to learn the secrets behind everything.
I think the training you're referring to is our Customer Experience Intelligence Academy, where we have, is
Yeah.
that right? Where you've got a bunch of videos, not only about how to use the platform, but also how to leverage the insights from the platform to improve retention, to decrease churn, to analyze the voice of the customer, and so on and so forth. Can you share which courses you've done?
Well, I've done all of them, but most recently was one on retention and the drivers of churn. And the other one was around the building of journeys with insights. But the retention one I loved and loved the tips of going in to figure out how to identify those drivers of churn. That was really fun.
That's great to hear. Actually, more is coming, so
Oh, good.
yeah, I'll definitely let you know whenever that's ready. But I'm really happy that you've enjoyed it. Last question. Are there any trends in 2025 that you're keeping an eye on?
I think it's a trend to always keep an eye on, and that's that balance between human and digital that we all talk about. I think it's something that has to always be challenged and reviewed because the way people interact with your business changes over time based on generations and what's available. So they both have a place, digital and human touch. But it's important to find the right amount of what's efficient and what's making it easy for the customer to get the right answers and to get the support that they need. Everybody's different generations or different groups of people like to contact you in different ways. It's just about making sure that you've got um, everything for everybody, right? So balancing that efficiency versus making it easy for customers.
I really love that. And I really appreciate how you're using that customer feedback for driving your CX program and just making decisions across and the company and just collaborating with the rest of the teams to make sure that this feedback is addressed and not just left ignored. I think that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Designing with the customer in mind, always.
Now, I want to move a little bit to my next section, which I call 15 questions from Chattermill. And this is short, rapid fire questions, more about your experience as a CX leader than anything else. And I really want to get that first reaction, whatever gut feeling is telling you. And we ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
What would you say is your secret superpower as a CX leader?
Bringing people together to solve problems.
What's the first thing you
The digital related feedback, because that's where you're going to see if there's a bug or something happening that you need to go and jump on quickly.
Which feedback channels matter most to you and your team?
All of them. They're all important. NPS survey, so new customers, existing customers. Cancellation, so when people cancel. Their customer review sites like Trustpilot, so we can see those. Social media, when customers rate their recipes, they can write a comment about it as well. So we look at that. When customers call us, they get the CSAT survey at the end. So that feedback comes through there. So all of them are important.
What would you say is the most underrated feedback source in CX?
Uh, um, None of them. They're all equally as important. I think NPS gets talked about the most, but all of the feedback channels are important.
I think I know the answer to my next question. What's one CX metric you're obsessed with?
Um, well, NPS definitely, but since using Chattermill, it's definitely the negativity and positivity index. I'm a bit obsessed with that right now.
And I have to add that these are Chattermill specific metrics. So this is
Those ones are, yep. So I did have NPS. NPS is definitely my CX obsession for sure.
What's the biggest CX myth you wish would disappear?
That's NPS should be cancelled. I went to a conference recently and there was this great session about how our NPS should be cancelled. And I sat there with my arms folded going, that's not right. That's not right. Um, because I think it's not appropriate everywhere, but where it is, it has a place. Um, the score is the score, but what else is happening within to make it that score is what's important.
What's your go-to way to get buy-in from leadership?
I think it's about having the right support around you, um, and having people value what you say, but also people, who are aligned with CX and customer centricity and have seen the benefits of, you know, the insights and what they can do to an organization and improve the customer experience. When you've got people who believe in what you do and support you, that's how I feel I get the buy-in anyway.
The most unexpected insight from customer feedback?
Well, customers tend to be fairly general in their feedback. So, I really liked the flavor or it was a nice experience. So it's really great when they give you something specific in their feedback, when they give you the details of maybe the recipe or, I don't know, something else that is a little bit more than that tasted really nice, which it definitely always does.
What's the best compliment a customer has given your team?
Compliment. That, that's an interesting one. I think usually when it comes to us, it's, we're calling customers because they're unhappy about something. So um, often the compliments that we'll get would be about, thank you for taking my feedback seriously and thank you for taking the time and helping me resolve this. I think people don't expect that you're going to call them back sometimes when they leave. Um,
Exactly.
you know, I need help with something. Is somebody going to call me back? And then you do. And they're like, oh, I'm a bit surprised by that.
Exactly. Favorite Chattermill feature and why?
um, the AI theming of the comments. Like I said already, it was a game changer. It just saves time and really helps you narrow in on particular areas of focus. Yeah. The theming and, I don't know, the negativity index. I love that. I already talked about that too. Those two things.
One thing CX teams should stop doing immediately.
Not publishing or sharing your work wider. I think sometimes we doubt ourselves and what we do and what we value. So stop thinking that it might not be relevant to everyone, because sharing the voice of customer drives action and increases empathy and understanding of the customer. So share it, somehow share it with everybody because it's interesting.
What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Yeah, is that turning insights into action. Sometimes I don't always hear when somebody picks up an insight or a recommendation and does something about it. Eventually, I'll see it in the feedback anyway. So it's always nice to be able to go, oh, somebody did that thing. That's so cool.
The best piece of career advice you've ever received?
Knowing when it's time to find a new, fresh energy. I'm not talking about a new job. Absolutely not. I'm talking about when it's time to start learning something new or practicing gratitude, saying no to negative thoughts. So knowing when it's time to find a new, fresh energy, to motivate yourself again.
Love that. And the last one, Jen, if your CX team had a tagline, what would it be?
Well, I have the same tagline with every CX team I've ever worked with, which is only a couple, which is get stuff done. That's what we do. We get on with it. That's our job.
A very high performing team.
That's it. That's us.
Love that. Thank you so much, Jen. I really enjoyed this conversation. And just like I said, I feel like we definitely spend another 30 minutes or more diving into the details. So just wanted to say thank you so much for joining our community, for sharing your thoughts with our community.
Thank you for asking me to be a part of this. You can see how much I use Chattermill, how much I love it. And now I get to teach people within the business how to use it as well and how to get the most out of it. So I'm an advocate, and now I'm a trainer.
Yes,
So yeah,
definitely.
thank you for having me a part of this. This was fun. It's fun to do.